Hey guys, Infidel1258 here. Today I want to get into some more comments from the comment section. If you have any questions or concerns, then you leave them on any one of my videos. I will look through them, and when I see things that are worth talking about for the entire community, things that grab me in some respect, I will do my best to review them thoughtfully and add value to the community through that conversation, and to send a thank you to those who have dropped those comments. So make sure you're leaving your IGN on comments you leave within the channel. And this one was from a friend of the channel and from the friend of the guild, Yuki. So Yuki goes, great town hall recap. Two things. Matt emphasized that trust should lie in the DAO going forward. This is an important point, and I didn't touch on it in my video in a direct way. So definitely want to underscore this point before we go any further. People are concerned about the leadership of Splinterlands and wanting to raise questions recently in particular around the new proposals and the governance and the leadership that the Splinterlands team represents, casting doubt, even making some really strong allegations about kind of the malice of the team and how they're behaving just irresponsibly or even nefariously. That's some of the tone of some of the comments, and Matt spoke to it. And he said, "Look, guys." He said it's not about trusting the team. I saw he really wanted to express that. Yep. This was the point that I really want to focus on for the rest of the video. He goes, Riftwatcher packs are new, but demand is so low right now. It's at 2,000 packs per day. It'll take 72 days until the next airdrop at that rate. It'll take 500 days, a year and a half, a year and 2/3, to sell 1 million packs. 1 million, and there are 2.5 million left. They need to hurry up and release first airdrop cards so that people are more willing, I think he meant he's winning, are more willing to open packs and buy more packs to open them. Yeah. So let's talk, they're going to spend the rest of the time talking about the prospect of burning Riftwatcher packs, the math behind, the slow sale rate, and if that makes sense and why or why not. So let's go over to the Riftwatcher window. I haven't been tracking the number of sold, to be totally honest, but I do feel as though it's been around 800 for a while. And so I can't verify that it's 2,000 per day, but I do trust Yuki. And so if he says it's 2,000 a day, I think he's probably right. That's the first thing I want to get out of the way. I will accept his numbers. And then if we did our own quick math and we said we want to sell essentially up to 1 million to get the next airdrop, so 150,000 divided by 2,000, that's what we mean to do, is 75 days to get cross that next million. And then from there, we need, if we say we have 1 million, we want to divide by 2,000. Yeah, he's right. 500 days to get that next million at that rate. So I'm going to accept your math, Yuki, and go on the basis that you're all of that's true. I think he's right about the figures he's presenting, and that would be totally unacceptable. 100% unacceptable. That would mean that this thing would sell out, we're talking like 1,500 days, roughly speaking. Add 1,500 divided by 4.5 years, probably, give or take, right? 4 to 4.5 years. And that's not at all possible nor acceptable. So let's agree that is totally ridiculous, and absolutely, if that were the case, would require some sort of dramatic intervention to control, to curtail, to correct. That is not okay, period, full stop. Here's my pushback on what Yuki's got to say. Let's go back to his comment. He says, I think my math was off a little. It would essentially be 1,100 days divided by 365 is still over 3 years. Is the point? It's way too long. Still not acceptable. But here's where I got to push back on Yuki. He goes, and I even want to agree here first. They need to hurry up and release the first airdrop so that more people are willing to open the packs, so that they can get that card, and then that'll hopefully drive more sales. I think that's true. How do we get that airdrop out sooner? It sounds like there was just artwork issues. They talked about in the town hall. They talked about how something about the card art didn't match the lore or the abilities or something, and therefore they went ahead and tweaked the card art to use that card art in another instance. I support that sort of thing because I don't like when the card art totally doesn't reflect the sort of abilities of the card. If you go and look at some of the cards, you know, there are occasionally times where I'm trying to quickly find one. The person will have like an archer's bow and they're a melee monster. And you're like, what? Something, you know, you weren't thinking about that one. Of course, I'm not finding one right this instance, but it does happen. And so I support them correcting that sort of thing, but that's creating I guess a week delay based on what I heard. And so that's a problem, and I'm glad they're fixing it. Now, once they get that out, once they get that card out, I do agree that'll probably provoke pack opening and hopefully therefore more pack sales for a chance to get that card that within the pack. But here's where I don't agree with Yuki. The idea that these pack sales are you can say it's going 2,000 packs per day, and that we can necessarily extrapolate that continually over the next 1,100 days. Because it's 500 days per million. We got 2.5 million. We're talking, you know, something like, we got 2.2 million. So we're talking something like 1,100 days. I don't think that is logical. I think it's, you know, you've got a small sample size of data over the last 4 weeks, let's say, where that's probably become true, the 2-week data, the 2K per day data. But then I would say that there is a ton of variables that are feeding into that reality that are not sustainable or that are dramatically changing in the very near future that will lead to a change in the pack sales around Riftwatchers. What do I mean? Well, I think for one, we have a good, strong likelihood that Chaos Legion is actually going to go through with that burn proposal. And so we've got 4.7 million Chaos Legion packs. But I think between now and April, we will be done with this thing. I think April was the day they said. I think March 31st was the day they set with the proposed Chaos Legion burn rate. It would start, once they started the proposal, it would be 25,000 packs a day, every day, until March 31st, and any remaining packs would be burned. I think that's what the proposal was. And this is one of the barriers, one of the variables standing in the way from additional sales of Riftwatchers. Also, Tower Defense, Rooney, Lux Vega, validator node licenses, all of those buying opportunities are in the way. And there's so many balls in the air right now around what's changing and what's not. We even have 2 proposals. Let's see how they're doing. We got 3 proposals. Okay, some more pop through. Okay. So we're still waiting on it feels like this was a million years ago. Just 4 days ago, the SPS rewards for guild brawls looks like it's thoroughly going to pass. That's great. That's a big change to our economy. That'll be roughly for decent guilds who are playing at tier level, that'll be 100 more SPS per week, roughly. You're talking 400 SPS per month. That's a financial opportunity that could change some of this picture. And so my point is, and I'm going to spend, if it's not already clear, I want to spend the next 4 or 5 minutes just articulating some of the things that are up in the air that can change the whole picture of how many Riftwatcher packs we're selling. New SPS income is part of that picture. New SPS income could allow people to become more flexible in their purchasing, and then maybe that allows more Riftwatcher purchase packs. That's one thing. This looks like it's going to fail tremendously, but validator node prices for DEC would have implications for this. And if you were sitting on DEC right now, or SPS for that matter, I think you've got to know where these things land before you start going ahead and buying Riftwatcher packs. Riftwatcher packs currently require SPS, but I would say DEC is currently pumping because of all the talk around trying to get it back to peg, and these 2 proposals are part of that conversation. And so while these are lingering, even though they're tremendously failing at the moment, I think it'd be really foolish to rush out and spend a ton of your DEC, and it'd be really foolish to run out and buy a bunch of Riftwatcher packs. So these are more pressures and more hurdles and more barriers that are standing in the way of those sales. And some of this could be alleviated through clarity that will come in the few days. When this fails, and I think it will, and it looks like this is going to fail too, 79 million people are against this one. That's pretty impressive. Have we even had one where it was that big approved? I'd love to see that. Let's go all. This one had 135 million for, 90 million for, 93 million, 108 for, 121 for. So we're getting pretty close on that one to active. We're getting pretty close on this one. Where is it? DC for Riftwatchers. We're getting pretty close to that being like decided is what my point is. In fact, I think even though there's still 6 days, I feel like that's probably decided, man. 161 million are for that. See, that's how close this is, man. 56% versus 44%. This, I mean, I don't think this changes, but this, it would be really, really a bad idea right now to buy a ton of Riftwatcher packs, not knowing full well that one, if you probably have DEC if you're in this game and you've been here for a year. And that DEC is pumping right now. Plus, the team is doing everything we can to pump it even more. Like a 35% increase is what we're aiming at. We're at 700. Yeah, let me just show you. DEC price right now is at 734 Splintoshis is what Aggie always calls it. And you know, if we added like a 40% increase on that, we would be close to peg. Right? That's a really, it'd be really a bad idea right now to rush out and spend DC on anything because this could still be overturned and be realized. That's part of the concern. Simultaneously, SPS is, I think, suffering over the last week or so, in part because of all this talk and attention towards DC. And therefore, it's not a best idea to buy Riftwatcher packs through SPS either. Plus, if this DEC proposal was to somehow turn around and pass, and you were sitting on DEC, man, you could have got those packs for cheaper through that triage opportunity. So those are big economical changes that are coming or that are in front of us and being weighed on right now. And we can't. That's going to hold back purchases. I think as clarity comes in this stuff, you're going to see an opportunity for more pack sales through Riftwatchers. Yeah, this is interesting too. The change on the DEC liquidity pools so that rewards are paid with SPS and not DEC. That's a significant amount of DEC that would be taken out of production. I approve that one. That's been in talking for the last week or so. I fully approve that idea. And that would change, again, our economy in a dramatic way. This is at least 5, like these are just 3 or 4 proposals, but these are like 5 or 6 different sub conversations that affect our economy and have implications for why you wouldn't want to buy gems right now, Riftwatcher gems. And then, like I said already, just knowing that Chaos Legion has pretty well, I think you heard it in the town hall. And I think in other situations too, Aggro has spoken about it. And it sounds like they're pretty set on doing that Chaos Legion burn. It sounds like they've kind of felt our conversations around it. And we mostly, I think, agree to that based on my comments, reading comments based on my review of it. So if they start burning Chaos Legion, that starts to take away one of the options. If they change or settle in on the economy of these other topics, these other proposals, I think that starts to change the image for what Riftwatchers can be. So does that mean that I expect Riftwatchers to suddenly start selling 50,000 packs a day? No, it doesn't. I actually think his point is probably pretty true in that it's going to last too long based on where we're at now. And part of that is solving the problem of the fact there's too much stock on the shelves. Whether you look at, Chaos Legion packs, the Riftwatcher gems, the Tower Defense packs, the Roonies, the Lux Vegas, the licenses, etc., SPS, DEC, cards. Definitely there's too much merchandise on the shelves for this bear market moment. And so I agree with Yuki's thought. The one thing I wanted to really articulate here is I don't think it's fair to draw this 2K packs per day recently and say, well, that's going to last for 1,100 days. That is a bridge too far in the argument, and I'm not even sure Yuki would try and strongly defend that. I think he would agree to what I'm saying. But just, I want to articulate it here for you guys, because this idea that over the last 3-4 weeks it's been moving slow, while true, doesn't mean that it will always do that. And if we solve some of these other issues that are on the side, like what are we doing with Chaos Legion packs? There's way too many of them. They've been on the shelves for over a year, or roughly a year now. That's going to move the needle. That's really going to move the needle. Now, that would probably mean short-term slowing down of Riftwatchers, maybe even more, because it would translate to people who want packs going to Chaos Legion before they start disappearing altogether. That would be between now and March of next year, which is really just 4 months away, and is going to be here in the blink of an eye, would probably draw all of our attention. And to the detriment of validator nodes, to the detriment of gems and everything else. For the most part, Chaos Legion would grab us, I think. But then we get Chaos Legion out of the way, and that's a huge deal. And that's where I think Riftwatchers is going to get the love. That's when it's going to start happening. And before I close, I just want to say, I don't think that's a problem. I don't think it's a problem if Riftwatcher sits on the shelves for, a year. I think when we start getting towards 10 months, 11 months, even 9 months of it being on the shelves, which would bring us like, we're talking maybe like summer next year. In that window, I think then we need to start talking. If there's still 1.5 million, 2 million packs, okay, maybe we need to burn some Riftwatcher packs. That's my thinking. But I really believe the issue isn't that there's too many Riftwatcher packs. I believe there's too much stock on the shelves altogether. And the only way to deal with that is to actually just slowly act on the oldest product first, giving bargains to get them out of the door, or literally choosing to burn them through an SPS governance proposal and vote. And I think that's going to happen with Chaos Legion. And that combination, that reality that I think will come, not to mention the clarity around SPS and DEC that's going to come in the next few, I think, days around those proposals we looked at, is going to really change how this moves forward in providing clarity to the investors. So thanks for the great comment, Yuki. And I appreciate you, my dude. And of course, I'm going to send him a little something. I think I've got him queued up in here. Yeah. Boom. Thanks, dude. Okay, guys, that's all for today. Have an amazing day. God bless.